I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show. Gordon Chang, Forbes.com, my colleague and co-host, and we're to Prague to speak to Ethan Gutmann. He is the author of the new book, The Slaughter, Mass Killings, Organ Harvesting, and China's Secret Solution to its Dissident Problem. Gordon, as I understand it, the White House has been apprised of the allegations of organ harvesting in China. How has it responded?
Well, the White House responded by saying, yes, this is a terrible practice. It's condemned the practice, but it really hasn't talked about action items, about what it's actually going to do with regard to Beijing. And that really is the important point.
Ethan, I go to the facts of the European Parliament. In December of 2013, it condemned the Chinese regime's forced organ harvesting, especially from Falun Gong, Falun Dafa practitioners. You're in Prague now speaking to a member of the European Parliament. Is the message understood? Are they ready to act on it? Good evening to you.
Surprisingly strong reception here in Prague and throughout the Czech Republic. My feeling is that they have been, they have a memory of being under brutal regimes, and they don't have as much trouble understanding that this is of getting rid of dissidents. And I think this really that is the nub of the issue here, which the White House was trying to skirt in its response. This petition was not written because people are concerned about prisoners, rapists, murderers in China. They're going to be executed, and then they end up giving their organs, and maybe they don't want to. I really don't believe that most people are that upset about it. What people are upset about is people who haven't even been charged with a crime, gathered up, and then they're harvested for their organs. These are people who are basically innocent, and they're not just Falun Gong. They're also Uighurs and Muslims of northwest China, and Tibetans, and even some House Christians, though we don't really have a real feeling for the numbers with the House Christians.
So, Ethan, what you're saying is that the Chinese government harvests organs from people who have not committed crimes, and indeed people who may even be alive at the time of the harvesting?
That is correct, and it's a twofer, because they are both making money off the harvesting, particularly if there's Western organ tourism involved, the price much higher. And they're getting rid of a problem. I mean, Uyghur activists go out, and you let them out of the labor camp, and they go back to what they were doing, blogging or handing out leaflets or whatever it is. And that's certainly true of Falun Gong, which has been a thorn in Beijing's side for quite some time. So I think the White House attempted to build a firewall around those two issues. In other words, yes, we're very concerned about forced organ harvesting. We're also concerned about mistreatment of Falun Gong, but they didn't acknowledge that, in fact, the whole issue is really basically about the harvesting of Falun Gong. And in fact, this contradicted the State Department's report, which said there are extremely credible allegations of Falun Gong harvesting, and that was back in 2011. Now, most people didn't even notice that. It was in the country report. But, for people like me, researchers who've been, working away at this was kind of a little breakthrough, right? Now we've seen that unravel. So we're kind of back to where we started.
Let's turn the screw a little, Ethan, because there's also a report in Epoch Times. Epoch Times has involved itself in this for several years for self-interested. It means that they represent the Falun Dafa practitioners, which I mention are not meant to be expressions of dissent from the state. The state crushes any dissent whatsoever as splitist, and so the peculiar cynicism of those who believe that Falun Dafa is a revolutionary movement is not. I'm not here to debate it. I'm just to say Epoch Times is interested in this mass murder story, or the possibility of the mass murder story. But another piece is new to me, Ethan, which is that the Chinese military, under orders from the new boss, same as the old boss, Xi Jinping, has to live on its own salaries, which are inadequate. And so there's the suggestion that the Chinese military are harvesting organs for income. Can we confirm that?
I have spoken to well over 10 witnesses, have direct memories of military doctors who examining them, military surgeons examining them in such a way that it was clear they were only interested in their retail organs. We have case after case of this. These were Falun Gong practitioners, but even outside of Falun Gong practitioners, take an organ tourist. I spoke to a young man who's had a kidney problem for a long time, and he went to China from Birmingham, England, and was able to acquire a kidney in a in a military hospital in Xi'an. So this is the common practice. I mean, this starts with Deng Xiaoping, who basically said to the military, look, I'm an old military man, but you're too big in China, and you're going to have to pull some of your own weight, make money. You've got a lot of resources. Do something with it. Now, I think that's very significant, and I think one of the reasons why pointing out these in the military hospitals, China is a surveillance state. The military is watched. Party members are watched. Ordinary people aren't watched that much, but you can bet that the military hospitals are not getting away with anything that the central leadership doesn't know about.
So, Ethan, you're saying this is state-sanctioned murder, right?
Yes, I am saying that, and it actually starts, one of the things I've uncovered is that it began, as far as I can tell, after the Gulje incident in 1997, where there's a small Uyghur uprising where they go out and do a demonstration. They're shot down. And after that, about 6 months after that, high-ranking cadres start coming into hotels in Urumqi. And a doctor is sent out. I interviewed him. He's quite credible. And he is sent over to the prison and to the political wing. And they say, take blood samples. We want to map out all the blood types. Well, why do they want to do that? Because, we've got these cadres, and they're looking for organs. So just do this. These people are enemies of the state. Now, he did this several times. Cadres came, cadres went. And, in fact, if the program had stayed that small, a few bloated officials at the end of their lives, I don't think we'd be researching this, right? This would just be a little aberration. In fact, what we've seen is tremendous spread, and the numbers start to run into the tens of thousands once Falun Gong gets in the picture.
Ethan Gutmann is the author, most recently, of The Slaughter, Mass Killings, Organ Harvesting, and China's Secret Solution to Its Dissident Problem. Ethan is traveling. He's in Europe, where his information is well received. It's horrifying. It sounds like we've stepped into a science fiction novel. However, at the same time, there's reason to believe that the White House is apprised of this. Recently and in the past, question is it brought up into conversations? Is it part of the American program going forward when dealing with Xi Jinping? Will be it part of the debates for the 2016 presidential contest? That remains to be seen. Gordon Chang of Forbes.com. I'm John Batchelor.